Welcome, everybody. My name is Debby Montgomery Johnson, and I am the president and CEO of BenfoComplete.com, formerly known as Benfotiamine.net, which you will see on your emails. I'd like to welcome you all here. We are recording this for our use, and I just wanted to read a disclaimer about benfotiamine because the FDA has not evaluated benfotiamine for safety and effectiveness. It therefore cannot be represented to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The statements made by us today are our opinions. They are not intended to diagnose, cure, or prevent any disease. Benfotiamine is not affiliated with any of the studies mentioned on our website, which we will talk about today. The testimonials on the website are individual cases and do not guarantee that you will get the same results. That said, welcome. Welcome to Houston. Welcome to Reno. Welcome to Virginia, Florida, wherever we're coming in today. We thank you for being here with us. This is a town hall, and it's the first time we've done this because we've been in business almost 20 years. It'll be 20 years in July. I took over the company 13 years ago when Lou, my late husband, passed away. He was the one that started the company. He started Benfotiamine.net because Lou was diabetic. He had sciatica. He had all sorts of health issues associated with diabetes, and he didn't want to be on drugs. So he did some research, and he found benfotiamine being provided by the Germans, and they've used it for 40 years to treat alcoholic neuritis. They also don't sell to the United States. So Lou got it a couple of times from there, a couple of times from Denmark, and then he was an entrepreneur and decided that I want to bring it to the United States because there's so many people that could benefit from it, and that's exactly what he did in 2002. And Dr. Jack, who's on here as Jack and Gwen, Dr. Jack is actually my father, real live dad, and has been working with me for the last 15 years. Dr. Jack is a retired dentist, but has worked with our doctors and our customers for a long time. So if anybody knows anything about benfotiamine and what it can and cannot do, it would be Dr. Jack. So welcome, Dr. Jack.
Thank you.
Glad you're here, Dad. We also have on the line Donald Kelly. Donald is our Director of Marketing and Sales. Donald has been working with me for a bunch of years. And is actually a family member of someone with what they call the sugars. His family's from Jamaica, and there's a lot of diabetes going on there. And so Donald is with me because as a generation of folks that have lived with family members of diabetics, we are now changing the focus of the company to not only work with diabetics, but those family members that are maybe going to get diabetes in the future, or hopefully they won't, or want to know how to prevent whatever they can by healthy eating and changing exercise and that kind of stuff. So we welcome Donald's perspective there. We also have another team member who I don't see on yet, but that is Raj. You may hear from him. Raj lives in Mumbai, India. Raj has been with us for a couple of years, a bunch of years, and does all of our tech stuff. But Raj is also in a unique position where his mother is diabetic. And in India right now, the number of diabetics is exploding because of the way they're changing their diet. And so it's really important to Raj and his family to understand how eating, will affect what they're doing, how changing the diet, changing exercise and all that will help him and his children moving forward. And so we're bringing a little bit of a younger emphasis into the company now, because a lot of our clients at the very beginning were older, weren't even on the internet, and we talked to them directly, and it's been fantastic. We've got one client on today. She's been with us for over 10 years, and that's what we see. When people have come into benfotiamine, have used it, and it's worked for them, they'll stay on it for life. You can try to go off, and most people will say it hurts to go off. I see Tony raising her hand. Tony, I'll talk to you in a minute about that. So we want to hear if you have been on it for a long time. Have you tried to go off it, and how did it make you feel? And if you did come back, we thank you for that. But briefly, this was just an introduction to our company. We wanted to see your faces because Dr. Jack talks to people all the time. I'm usually behind the scenes with the sales and the service here. And we want to know how we're doing and how we could do better. If there are things that you'd like to see us bring to our product line, we're small. We are a small company, and we certainly appreciate you. We would like for you to share what we have with your friends, with your doctors and whatever, so that we can grow a little bit. But we've found that there's a lot of competition out there, but there are also 60 million diabetics. We're not going to hit everybody, but we do want to get the word out. And that's another big emphasis of what we do. And Donald does a lot of this with his team, is education. Education on what neuropathy is, how you might be able to get it, what you can do to alleviate, reduce the pins and needles or the numbness of it, how food might affect it, how exercise might affect it, and basically how healthier living may help us all in the future, may. The other thing I wanted to let you know, if you haven't heard this already, is this past year, Benfotiamine is under research or in research as what researchers call type 3 diabetes, which is Alzheimer's. So they're doing a study about Alzheimer's to see if Benfotiamine can slow down the progression of Alzheimer's, which I find very interesting because I just hit 65 and I would love to be taking this for years and years and be as alert and as up to date as my father, who is going to be 94. So keep that in mind too.
Presents to Florida.
Excuse me, Dad?
Send presents to Florida.
Yeah, really. Okay, so I'm going to bring Donald on for a minute. Donald, I'm going to put you on the spot. As we had our meeting this morning and we're talking about what we were going to do today. So Donald, can you just kind of introduce yourself a little bit more than what I just did and tell everybody what you do for us and how you serve us with the marketing that you do?
Yeah, we believe very strongly that we don't want to be the best kept secret. We've been a part of organizations that's been their mottos, and it's not cool, especially when you have something like what we have. We call it our moral obligation to get that message out. In my capacity, we focus on the sales and marketing. So marketing in the sense of the email communications, the content we share on social media, working with our team, as well as the working with potential clients as well. Our team does, we call them sunshine calls, where we check in on new customers and see how they're doing, answer questions, and to be a resource for them. So anything dealing with any of the promotions you see come out or any of the things of marketing the event, our offerings, our team work closely on that. And the goal for this conversation is to help us to be able to do that better. We want to hear the real, the raw, things that may not be favorable and things that may be favorable, but that's the way we can improve. So we want you to rip off the Band-Aid. Maybe you could talk about, maybe say you don't like the packaging, you like the colors to be different, or perhaps you don't like the font and you want the different font, or maybe the product's been changed your life. We'd love to hear that. Why has worked for you? What hasn't worked? What any ideas of stuff? As Debbie mentioned, we're a small, nimble team, and we pack a powerful punch. So we don't have to go through the bureaucracy of the corporate umbrella to get things changed. If there's something that we feel based on our client feedback, we will go ahead and do those things if they make sense for the company. So in this experience today, we really just want to get that. We really just want to get those insights and feedback from you.
Thank you, Donald. And the reason we're asking this is because the formulas for the G150, which we call the regular benfotiamine, and the multi-B have been the same since Lou started the company in 2002. We have not changed them. Alpha lipoic acid has come on, and people want to know, why don't you have alpha lipoic acid in the product? Well, I was very reticent to change after Lou died. I figured he had a really good combination of things, and let's just keep it. That's still how I feel today. Although we did launch a new product this past year called Benfo Boost. The Boost, again, was as we were crafting our family and bringing it down to the next generation, the Boost was geared towards pre-diabetics, not to the people that have been benefiting from benfotiamine by itself. And I don't know if people are getting confused by that, because I do have folks that want to use the boost because it's excellent for a little bit of weight management, a little bit of stress. I mean, there's eight different things in this. It could curb appetite. Go to the website and look under Benfo Boost. It's got some excellent things. I actually take it because I'm not diabetic, but you have to alter the regular benfotiamine capsules, the number of capsules you're taking, to accommodate taking the boost. So our boost is for your family members. It's for those that may be subject to diabetes going forward, but want to have a really good foundation for, I don't want to say sugar suppression, but it does sort of calm down the sugars. I found it to be very good. It doesn't work for everybody. Benfotiamine doesn't work for everybody. I got an email the other day where someone was being a little bit derogatory, and I was like, you know what? No supplement works for everybody. You have to just try it. No drug works for everybody. And so, but if it works for you, then stick with it. And I'm all about being civil. We are, like I said, a small family business. When you call, you talk to Dr. Jack, you talk to me. You might talk to one of our Donald and Ron, but typically it's one of us. When you email us, you go right to me. And I've gotten emails that were in capital letters yelling at me. And I'm thinking, why is this person so angry? You've never talked to me. Just call me. We are always available at our 800 number, 888-493-8014. Dr. Jack is there to answer it. If he doesn't, we just leave a message. We are always available, but not in the middle of the night, right, Dr. Jack? So
Yeah.
we will take a message, and you actually get the original recording from Mr. Lou when he started the company, because it's a really good intro. So anyway, we are available. We want to hear what you have to say. Once somebody buys from us, you become part of our Benfotiamine family, our BenfoComplete family, and I will write to you as if you were part of our family. If you like that, great. If you don't, sorry. That's how I do it. It makes me feel good, because I want people to know that we are listening and that we are here for you. So
Let me just add one thing about the timing.
yeah, go ahead,
I
Doc.
actually had a customer who used the product for 1 whole year with no results, and then results began to come. Now, I can't imagine that many people who would ever wait that long, but we did have some.
Wow.
But
That's
most people, we
excellent.
figure 3 months at least you should try it.
Yeah, 3 months. Yep. I'd like, if it's okay, just because my timing is a little constrained. First, I'm Tony Perry. As you can tell, I have bladder cancer, so I'm going through chemo right now. I started Benfotiamine years ago. I think it must have been probably around 2008, and it was through a web search after seeing neurologists, and I had chemo-induced neuropathy, and they said there was no answer for it. And after seeing, over 1,000 testimonies on your website, I ordered the product. And Deb, you and I spoke way back when, and after 3 months, I started seeing results. And it's an excellent product. I've been on and off of it. In other words, I had taken it for about 1.5 years, and I saw tremendous results back then. I actually had 100% recovery. So I was off of it. Back in 2015, I was diagnosed with, so that was basically just from chemotherapy I didn't even have cancer back then originally, but they were giving chemo drugs to address a rheumatology issue. And so that kicked in. In 2015, I was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, stage 4, and went through chemo and a stem cell transplant. And once again, chemo-induced neuropathy. Went back onto the benfotiamine, tremendous success. Went off of it, did fantastic. The bladder cancer, but we believe it or not, I believe it's from COVID. I was 8 years clear of cancer and cured, and I contracted COVID last year in January of 2022, and then after that got diagnosed with bladder cancer. So here I am, It's been a long battle. And I had chemo in April. In other words, they were doing immunotherapy to try to treat the bladder cancer. It didn't work. So in April, we started a very aggressive chemo treatment, which I had to get off, but it caused bad neuropathy in my hands and my feet. I'm happy to report I went right back onto the Benfotiamine, and we're doing really good. There is one issue for some reason, I don't know why, but the neuropathy caused something called blue toe syndrome. I don't know if you're familiar with it. Basically, what happens is the neuropathy will cut off the artery and will stop blood supply to some of the toes. So that's the one thing that we're just dealing with. The hands are doing really good, even though right now I am getting I'm getting a brand new chemotherapy treatment. It's not like napalm where it goes throughout your whole body. It's actually a chemo delivery system that just delivers the chemo right to the cancer. And I had my third treatment yesterday. It was very successful. I'll go for a PET scan next month and see, how it's treating the cancer. But for right now, I'm just dealing with the neuropathy. I'm doing the multi-B. I'm doing 4 in the morning and 4 at night. And, we are still having some, the only neuropathy that I really feel is just in those 2 toes that kind of lost their blood supply. So I did buy the cream. So one of my questions is, I've been putting the cream on, but the packaging I think needs to be a little bit improved. It kind of gives you a general idea of the benefits of it, but what I'm doing is I'm just putting it on in the morning, I'm putting it on at night, but I'm not too sure as far as what the cream was really created for and what are the benefits of it. So that's my question. I'm taking the oral multi-B morning and night, and I'm putting the cream on, but I'm putting the cream on the toes with the hope that it would, just help back off the neuropathy in those 2 toes so we can get the circulation back. So I was just wondering if you can kind of speak about that one product, because the packaging itself, I'm in marketing, or I used to be in marketing. I'm a professor now. But that's the one thing that I see lacking on the outside is just the purpose of the cream itself.
Okay, good question, because I actually looked up what you ordered and I saw that you had the cream. That was going to be my question to you, is how do you like it?
Yeah.
Typically when we send the cream out, there's an info sheet that goes along with it, because
Yeah.
the jar is pretty small. So even looking at the writing on it is really difficult. It's hard to read. So I've
Okay.
got limited space on the jar itself.
Okay.
The one thing that I want people to know is on the top, that yellow sticker that says keep it refrigerated. It keeps the cream longer, fresher.
Yeah, no, I have it in the fridge.
And it's also psychologically really nice because you're putting cold on hot. The
Okay.
reason that Lou created the cream originally is we actually had clients who had neuropathy in their stomach, and the customer he wanted something that he could rub on his stomach. We also have clients who are a little bit older that can't swallow capsules. And
Okay.
short of opening the capsule up and putting the benfotiamine into a drink or something like that, we came up with the Benfo cream, which I suggest that people use it in addition to the capsules, not by itself, because the most active benfotiamine is going to be in the capsule version. The cream is just an adjunct product, again, to make it cooler and a little bit. My question to you guys is, we've changed, I think you just got new stuff. You did. We changed the formula a little bit to make it a little bit thicker, because we were hearing it was more like a lotion than a cream. Also heard comments about there's a lot of extras in it. Well, the extras are the B vitamins, the benfotiamine will oxidize over time. And if it's not kept cold and have some of the preservatives in it, it will turn brown. The only clients that liked the brown were my guys that were in India. And they didn't want the white cream, they wanted the brown. But typically we're selling here in the United States, so we're trying to keep it white. Again, it was just an additional product. It's, I believe, the only cream available that has benfotiamine in it. I've never seen any other companies that have it.
So by putting it on a particular area, is it delivering additional B vitamins to that area? Additional
benfotiamine and L-arginine. Those are the active ingredients in it. So you can put it anywhere, but if it, particularly those 2 toes, just rub it in. rub it in.
Okay, is there any recommendation as far how often?
No, we have people do it. My mom actually uses it every day. You can do it morning, night, whenever you like.
Okay,
There's no too much of the Benfo cream because it really has a lot less benfotiamine in it. You're going to get the bigger punch with the capsules.
with the capsules, which I've been doing.
But Tony, if you're taking 8 multi-B a day, are your numbers on the other Bs too high? Because I would suggest that you take 4 multi-Bs and 4 regulars, because the regulars are going to give you that extra benfotiamine, but you're not wasting the extra Bs because they're water soluble and you're going to pee them out. So it might be a better bang for you to combine them. You know,
Okay, what other, all I have is the multi-B. I didn't know what else.
Yeah, the multi-B has the additional B vitamins, but we have what's called the regular, or it's the G150. It is only benfotiamine in the capsule. There's 150 milligrams of benfotiamine in every capsule of the multi-Bs and the Gs. So you're getting the same amount of benfotiamine as you would in the multi-Bs. You're just not getting the extra Bs, which a lot of folks, even me, the B12 is too high if I take 4 multi-Bs a day.
Oh, well, I'm taking 4 and 4, so I'm taking 8.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe you want to take 4 multi-Bs and 4 regulars. You'll still get the benfotiamine, which is attacking your, well, not attacking, but it's affecting your neuropathy, but you're not overdosing on, there's no too much, but you're not using as much of the other Bs, which you're really wasting because the body can only absorb so much of the additional B6, B12, and then it's just, peeing it out because those are water soluble. Where the benfotiamine is not water soluble, it is fat soluble. It will stay in your system, and that's what's affecting your neuropathy the most.
Okay, so I'm looking at your website, the product catalog. Which item would it be?
The G150s.
All right, it just says benfotiamine regular G. There it is.
That's it. And the G150 actually came from, Lou called it a gelatin with 150 milligrams. So it's G150.
Okay, so you're saying take 2 of those in the morning and 2 of the multi-Bs, and then 2 of these at night and 2 of the multi-Bs, because the other stuff I'm just peeing it out.
You are.
Okay. All right.
So less expensive.
It's less expensive that way too.
Okay.
And speaking of less expensive, I'm going to kind of go into this. If someone has been taking it as long as you have, and we have a lot of clients that are doing that, that's why our auto ship has come out. And I know people don't like to get, locked into something, but our auto ship is very flexible. And
no, I signed up for the auto ship, but now I'm going to have to email you to change it.
But that's okay, because what that does is it gives you free shipping, and we can go in there and we can adjust the time, how many and how long. And I believe you can do it on your end too, but it's easy for us to do it from our end. So just
all righty. Well, I'm gonna have to sign off, but I do want to let you know that I've sent many people here. My one suggestion is that just promoting for diabetes, I think, is a detriment to the company. I know that I've had tremendous benefits from it, and as you can tell, even right now, it's been a big help. I did, I'm working with 2 hospitals. I'm originally from New Jersey, so I'm tied in with the Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, and here in Virginia, I'm working with UVA, the University of Virginia. But when I came in yesterday and they said it has a neuropathy, I said, it's all gone. The only issue we're having is this, this foot issue. But they were amazed because for cancer patients, it's a godsend. You have to be patient. It didn't happen right away. I started it in April, and the improvement, I could honestly say I saw the improvement the end of May, beginning of June. People are very impatient. People want, they want their hamburger, just pull up to the drive-through and give it to me,
Yeah, they want the instant. And that's the thing that we're trying to tell everybody is, first off, if we can do preventative stuff, great. But people want to cure immediately, and they want a pill that's going to take it. And I'm like,
no, it doesn't work. It doesn't work that way. And the thing is, your husband was wonderful when I did this the first time. He told me, he's like, just stick with it. But the testimonies spoke for themselves. And my husband knows because we started dating way back when, and it was 3 months, and I was on the phone with him. I said, you're not going to believe this, but I could feel the carpet.
Oh, wow.
I couldn't feel anything. And I just recommended your product to a neighbor. She just told me that she had a spinal injury accident and everything is fine, but she's got neuropathy at the bottom of her feet. And I sent her, I sent her your website, and the same thing today. My husband asked, he's like, where's that information? So I would say, I'm pretty much promoting it a couple times a month, and I'm very grateful. I've spoken to your dad on the phone. I've spoken to you on the phone, and, I just wanted to say thank you. And I wanted to just find out with the cream. And James, I sympathize with your dilemma, especially being in good health. But the one thing I can tell you is, we're dealing with humans. We're not dealing with Almighty God. And when
Yes,
you're
ma'am.
working with doctors, the one thing that that the Lord put on my heart is I keep sticking to it, or else I wouldn't even be here. I went from stage 1 bladder cancer to stage 4. Just because, they didn't see something on a CAT scan. But I'm still here today, and I'm very grateful for your company and what you guys have done. But just because one doctor doesn't know, you should continue your search. And I really hope that the product does help you out.
Thank you so much.
Tony,
Okay.
thanks so much. And we wish you the very best with what's going on in your life. And
All right, thank you very much. Yeah, when you have an opportunity, maybe tomorrow we can change my order. So if you have a minute, shoot me an email and let's make a little modification.
I will do that. Thanks so
And
Tony,
I'm glad
before
I
you
told
go,
you
can I-
that, because I don't want to, lose. I'd rather get the benefit of what I need.
Absolutely. Somebody wants to talk to you.
Yeah, Tony,
Tony.
before you go, this is Donald with sales and marketing. You mentioned that for you to you said you saw the results. Was it more so the feeling came back, the reduction of the pain or the pins and needles? And then you mentioned for yours, I know everyone is different. It was about what, 3-4 months, you said?
Well, the first time that I tried it again, it was, I was having a rheumatology issue. And, rheumatology is not an exact science. It's not like you get a diagnosis and they know what to do. They just throw things at you. First, they start with prednisone, then they start with cancer drugs like methotrexate and others. And it has side effects. So when the first one started, I read the testimonials, and that's what convinced me that I reached out. I spoke to Debbie's husband, and he told me, he's like, this is not going to fix everything right away. It might take a year. We don't know. But, all I can tell you is if you just keep up with that, you'll see a benefit. So it took about 3 months for the first time. And on and off throughout the years, I'm sure you can look through my sales, my purchase history. But, whenever I would run into something, for that particular case, it took about 1.5 years for me to get 100% feeling back. Then I took a break from it. And then when I got diagnosed with the non-Hodgkin's and I had a drug that caused the neuropathy, I immediately went on it. And that fixed it up in about a week. That didn't even take very long because I just jumped on it right away. This one was different. Back in this April, the chemo that they gave me is a very bad chemo. Even the pharmacist told me that it caused a lot of damage. So, April, May, June, it's taken that long, it took a couple of months. I say April, the end of May is when things started getting better and the tingling stopped and the pain stopped. So now, hands are doing good. It's only that one issue that for some reason in those 2 toes, we can't, I'm trying to figure out prayerfully, how to address the neuropathy in those toes. That's why I ordered the cream. And, time will tell. I mean, I am seeing some benefit. We are seeing improvement as far as some blood flow, but it's not 100%. But I'll keep you guys updated. If the cream does assist and I get on the right benfotiamine protocol with the other product, I think that would help me out.
Sounds great.
Wonder if we
Thank
could
you so
get
much.
Tony's testimonials on there, recorded and just change their name, because we don't need to hear from anybody else.
Yeah. Now,
Well, like I said, I love your company. I'm a big supporter, and even for James, just to keep him encouraged as far as going forward with it. But if there's a medical issue that is exacerbating it, that could be a challenge.
Tony, let me ask you, In your experience, and you indicated that you talked to other folks. Have you connected with other folks that have had the neuropathy from an unknown cause?
You know, there's some that just say that there's some that have diabetes or some that have some type of damage. I don't think you have an unknown cause. I think somehow, some way, especially since you're so athletic, I think somehow, some way, something in your system went amiss. And maybe, and the reason that the neuropathy may be ongoing, and again, I don't know your history,
Sure.
but all I can tell you is, yes, the diet is great, but in some type of physicality, if there was some type of, damage where it's ongoing, then, the product it's going to be a challenge for you, because here you have this ongoing issue and you have the product. With me, I was able to stop, in other words, we stopped that bad chemo and now they have me
Sure.
on something else. So I had to stop what was causing the neuropathy, and now I'm healing. But the thing
Sure.
is, people who have diabetes, they have an ongoing issue. And that's why Debbie said some people are just on it for life,
Sure.
where they'll stop it, but they still have diabetes. And then, in other words, they may need the product. I think, if I were in your shoes, what I would be looking for is to figure out what the cause is.
Sure.
And, neurology, again, is sort of like rheumatology. It's not an exact science. They don't even believe that neuropathy can be cured, but I'm a walking, talking example.
Sure.
But it was chemo based. It wasn't diabetes. And as Debbie said, every situation is different. But I think that's really where you should really pursue it is, go back to, even with me, what caused that rheumatology issue that I had was actually food poisoning, and it was misdiagnosed. I actually was a professor of culinary arts, and this is now, a while ago. But I didn't know food poisoning can mimic rheumatology, RA issues. So I got misdiagnosed with something where it was actually food poisoning. And they just threw every drug in the book at me for 14 years. And it wasn't until 14 years where I met someone else that had food poisoning and ended up having rheumatoid arthritis-like symptoms that I realized I don't have RA. I just had bad food poisoning, changed my diet for a year and a half, and all the symptoms went away.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Wow.
it's hard. Like I said, we expect our doctors to be godlike, and they can't be. And even this company, it's wonderful, but they can't, it's meant to help people, but people are very impatient. So I could see the frustration for Debbie and Jack as far as, people will just take it for 2 weeks and quit. And I would like to tell them that, it's to their detriment. You really need to hang in there and give the product some time, because nerves do regenerate, but they don't regenerate as fast as we want them to. And but the product definitely is effective, and it's been a godsend to me. It really has been.
Thank you, Miss
Thank
Coney.
you for sharing.
All right, guys, have a great night.
Take care, honey.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Tony.
All right. Well, we can't get any better testimonials than that. And that's what I like to hear too. And Dr. Jack hears that more than I do, because he's talking with clients every day. So, Dad, do you have anything to add to what Tony said, or what other people say to you?
No, I don't think anybody could add anything to what she just talked about. I think that's the most fantastic testimonial I ever heard.
Yeah.
By far. And I'm sure that James thinks so too. That's great. No, I just think one thing that bothers me about the Benfotiamine itself is the fact that there's so many doctors have no clue that there is such a product available anywhere. And that includes people, podiatrists, and every people that are having sore feet all the time, and most of them don't even know about this stuff, even though it's been around for 60, 70 years. That's sad, but that's the way things happen. But this is a good start, certainly for the folks on the program.
Absolutely. Because it's not a drug. We're trying to keep people off of drugs. There doesn't seem to be, or there hasn't seemed to be with any of our clients, reaction to using benfotiamine with medication. There's no adverse effects that we've heard about. Again, it's vitamin B1. It's a fat soluble form of vitamin B1. So James, you're here,
Let
and
me
I
tell
know
you one thing about that. I had only one disappointing testimonial from the young fellows. Was talking about ever since he's been taking benfotiamine, it takes him 10 beers to get drunk instead of 4.
that's a Tex, and he was from Texas, so you'd appreciate
Oh, wow.
that, Mr. Houston.
Yes.
Yeah, those
I'm-
are our Texas friends.
I'm going to order some. I'm going to order some this evening. And start again. My neurologist is, I had to tell her about this. When I told her about this was several months ago. Her view was, hey, let's just stop all supplements for now. They're trying to determine the cause. The thing that's striking, I think you're going to see a huge spike in your business, because I have here in Houston alone, I've connected with probably a dozen people. Some of these, 4 or 5 of these anyway, these people are in their 20s, and they have, I'm not just, my neuropathy is just in my feet. Now I feel like this sensations like in my lower, my lower leg area to my knee. But I've had conversations with people that were like in their mid 20s, late 20s. They have the neuropathy all over their bodies.
Mm.
They've been, formally diagnosed with SFN, small fiber neuropathy, and, the punch biopsy and what have you. It is, what they've told me anyway, is that they had COVID, or they had the vaccine. And one of the cases, they had the vaccine but never tested positive for COVID. 3 weeks after getting the vaccine in 2021, neuropathy started in their hands, arms, all over their bodies in some cases. Extremely severe. And I've talked to my neurologist about that in the last appointment. She confirmed it. She said there are neuropathy cases exploding around the U.S. Exploding. Wow. It's such a clip that it's taking 9 months to a year to get to have an appointment with a neurologist, because they're so understaffed all around the country.
That's interesting. That's actually something that we could do a little research into too, because we're always trying to find articles to write or things to address, and I hadn't heard that, so Donald's listening to hear. We'll do some research on that too.
It's exploding. COVID cases, that the COVID essentially went away in terms of the symptoms, but the neuropathy stayed, and many neuropathy cases in the long COVID space. Many. I don't, I've looked into it I'm doing as much research as I can. But I know it's exploding, because my neurologist, she's been a neurologist for 17 years here in Houston. She said that she's never seen anything like it.
That's interesting. Dr. Jack, too, when you talk to some of our doctors, that might be a question to ask them, like Dr. Brewer and some of the others that,
Yeah.
are they?
I ask our Texas doctors.
We do have a doctor, and we've got a doctor in Tyler, Texas. And we do a lot of business with them. Again, it's the good old Texans. But we'll look into that, because that's really interesting, because and Tony brought this up too. It's not just diabetics now. The reason we have focused on diabetics in the past is because Lou is diabetic, and 60% of diabetics are going to get neuropathy. So that's a pretty big crowd. But we are seeing the neuropathy. And I was curious as to the cancer, because originally we were questions, is there a problem with cancer patients, chemotherapy patients taking benfotiamine? And I've had folks come back and say, no, there's not a problem with that, but we obviously can't it's always talk to your doctor. Make sure that you're always talking to your doctor beforehand, but let the doctor know, because as you said, most doctors, and Dr. Jack said this, most doctors do not know about benfotiamine.
Why is that? My doctor didn't even know, and she's nice. I mean, she seems, I don't know. I was shocked. I was shocked because there's so much information about it online.
Yeah.
That's because you're looking it up. If you didn't know
Too
about it,
hard
you wouldn't know to look
Too
it.
hard to spell.
What, Dad?
It's too hard to spell.
Yeah, no, I was shocked.
It's
She
not
did-
something that the drug companies push. It's not something that, we're the two of us. So we're not out there knocking on doors. We don't have a sales team that's out there knocking on doors. For us, the greatest testimonials would be like Tony, and for you to referrals come from that, because people want to know people that have been on it.
Right.
And if we can tell doctors, we have great specials for doctors. We've got wholesaler, agreements with doctors where they can have it in their office. And we have one of our best doctors up in North Carolina, and he sells more than anybody that we know. And he's researched, and he has spoken out about benfotiamine to conferences of doctors. And when he's done that, it raises awareness, but we need help.
Right. The doctor, my neurologist, indicated she was familiar with there was a drug, a company, Windsor or Winsator, that was I think they're in clinical trials, and maybe even not even in the US, maybe even Canada. They had a drug essentially that regrew nerves, periphery nerves. That's what her response was. She said, well, there is a drug coming to market. And I believe she indicated in Canada. I haven't taken a look at it, but
it could be. The Canadians have benfotiamine too through a company called AOR. But we've got Canadian customers that purchase from us. Again, we've been in the business for 20 years, and we're small, and it's our niche supplement. And so we don't know everything about it, but we have really good source of raw materials. We have really good quality control at our labs, and we only will give you the best. And I've had folks come and say, well, I can buy it cheaper somewhere else. And I'm like, okay, so you have to look at the milligrams, is it apples to oranges? You got to have 150 milligrams, and it has to be a good quality. When Lou started the business, he wanted the highest pharmaceutical quality of benfotiamine available. It wasn't just like the run of the mill. You can't find it. I mean, people ask where we source it. You cannot find it in the United States. Most supplement raw materials are not manufactured in the United States. Benfotiamine is one of them. It's very expensive raw material. We are not making a fortune off of it. We are, our goal is to get it out there because we want you guys to feel like you're our family, and we would do anything for our family. And we want the availability of it, to be there for you. There are a lot more companies out there, but I know the quality of ours is the best.
Excellent. I'm going to order some.
Okay.
I'm also going to, I do a Zoom call with, this neuropathy kind of support group here in town. Now, these individuals are individuals that believe the neuropathy is the origin is from COVID or long COVID.
Okay.
One of the girls who I've talked to extensively, probably a dozen conversations on the phone, she's part of a long COVID group. That, I mean, literally every single one of these people that she knows that she's part of this group, it's like 10,000 people here in Texas. Every one of them have neuropathy. I mean, it's not just the small fiber, but what is it? The I'm not sure what the term is.
There's a lot of different neuropathies.
Yeah, they have multiple neuropathies.
Wow.
This, of the bladder and such, the bladder control, the temperature. I mean, some of these folks and they're so young too. I mean, it's in their 20s. I mean, they have just been destroyed by this long COVID.
Well, that's why we did this, because that's something now that we can start doing research on and start writing about if we can find it. and I appreciate you talking about this too, because again, we can't do it. We've got limited resources and limited distribution channels. And so it really is coming down to our customers talking about it to their friends, their doctors, their family members, and whatever.
Sure.
And, you can give Dr. Jack a call too. If we can order it online. You can look at everything online. If you want to talk to someone, talk to Dr. Jack, call the 800 number. Dr. Jack loves it when people call him.
I don't do politics. That's the only thing.
Yeah, neither do I.
That's a good thing.
That the story, Tony's story is compelling, because I think if it works, if it was effective addressing the chemo consequences, I would imagine it may be effective for the COVID folks as well.
And that's interesting. I have another friend here that had lung cancer, and he's been taking our Benfo. He's kind of on the family plan. He's been taking it for years, and he can feel it when he is running out. He can start feeling the difference. And he went to his doctor and told him or her, I can't remember if it was a male or female doctor, about the product, and said, this really does help me. And that's important because, again, our emphasis wasn't towards the cancer patients, because we really need people to be working with their oncologists, but the oncologists need to know about it. So
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, every doctor needs to know about it because, well, Dr. Jack, you talked with other doctors, and it's the kidneys and nephrology, right?
Yeah.
Nephropathy. It's the eye doctors. It's the retinopathies. I mean, all the opathies. It's really quite interesting that Benfotiamine is effective for so many different things, many more things than we even know about. And
Sure.
so we really do want to, get the word out. And we want people to try it. But again, like Tony said, don't try it for a month, because it may not work for a month. Try it, give it a 3 months. We have a really good discount on a 3-month package. Try it for 3 months. If it doesn't work after 3 months, well, maybe it's not going to work for you. If it is, then it is, and then hang in there. So
Absolutely.
The cream works well.
The cream?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for most people, that seems to be an immediate relief or sort of deal.
yeah,
The
but
medication itself takes a long time.
we found, though, it's better to have the capsules with the cream. We even have a package with that. We call it a starter kit, but we want people just to give their body a chance to try it and to see how it works. And we've had customers around for a long time, many of them. So those are the ones like Tony that give it a chance. And that's what we say, just give it a chance, give your body a chance. It's not that instant, pill that's going to cure it tomorrow. It might, but most likely might not.
Yeah.
So.
Guys, I've got to get moving. I appreciate it. I'm gonna order this evening, and I'm going to bring your company up on the next Zoom call, which is going to be next week, with this COVID or this neuropathy group that's consistently, primarily COVID people, and they don't even. No one's ever even brought this up on the call, so I'm sure they're unaware of it.
Absolutely. And if, we're here to answer questions too. And I'll have the guys start looking into writing some things, and we can see if we can address that with the assistance of, maybe there's a group leader that would like to get in touch with us. We can actually work together and try to see what we can come up with.
Yeah, very good. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate all of this.
Thanks, James. We appreciate being
Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Y'all have a great day.
You too.
You too.
All righty. Now we still have our Francina's on. I don't know if she wanted to come on. I know we did talk about people going off the capsules at one point and then saying, oops, shouldn't have done that. I think she was one of them at one point. Here she comes. Hello, Miss Francine.
Yeah, I had COVID in April, and my neuropathy, as far as my balance, has been worse. And
I missed that, Francine. You said that you had stopped it and your balance became worse?
no, I have continued with it.
Okay.
I only take 1 capsule once a day. Should I take more? But because I'm really sure that the COVID made my neuropathy worse.
That's interesting, because you just heard James, that whole conversation with James.
Right.
So you might want to up your dose from 1 to 2. And Dr. Jack would probably say get back up to 4. But you can always adjust. It really is dependent upon your body and how your body's reacting to the benfotiamine. Like we said, we have some customers that are taking 10, 15, 20. We don't really want you to be taking that much. That's a lot of gelatin. But if you find that 6 is better than 4, then take 6. It's not toxic. It's not going to hurt you. If 3 is better than 1, try 3,
Yeah.
play around with it.
I was taking the diabetic multi-pack too, along with the benfotiamine, and I had a B12 level that was over, I think, well over 1,000 or 1,500, and another one of my vitamins was too high. So now I just take when I take the thiamine, I don't take the diabetic multi-pack. So
Well,
I just do that maybe once a week in the
Exactly.
evening.
And that brings up a good point. People ask, what should I take, the G150s or the multi-Bs? Well, I always say, if you're not taking a regular multi-B vitamin, then just take the multi-Bs. If you are, don't take too many Bs. Just take the G150. Like Tony was taking 8 multi-Bs a day. In my mind, that's too many extra Bs. You just need that many. You're wasting them. Your body can only absorb so much of those B vitamins. Don't waste them and don't spend the money if they're not doing you any good.
Yeah.
So get
And
back to the Gs.
the other thing I was going to mention, my brother has metastatic prostate cancer, and he has a neuropathy, and they've MRI'd everything. Now they're going to do the brain. He's seen a neurologist, or at least the neuroscientist that's with the neurologist, and nobody's bringing up that it's from the chemotherapy, which I think it is.
That has been proven that chemotherapy and that kind of stuff will create neuropathy, but
Yeah.
have them bring it up, sometimes being the wise patient and just say, perhaps this is an idea of why I have neuropathy.
Do you have any doctors in the state of Montana that know about it?
I don't know, but you don't have to be in the state of Montana. I mean, we can certainly talk to our doctors outside of Montana. If maybe we can get, Donald, that's something maybe we can get one of our doctors to write about chemotherapy and neuropathy.
Yeah,
we can certainly get information about that and pass that on.
For sure.
Right.
And I take it, Francine, since you've been such a long time customer, that you're a great advocate of benfotiamine.
Yes, but I want to know what the difference between Metanx, METANX is, and benfotiamine. Other
Metanix,
than one is on prescription and high in cost.
yeah, Metanix is okay. It says Metanix is a prescription medical food made from something. Got methylcobalamin, which is our B12. It's got pyridoxal 5-phosphate, which is our B6. It's a multi-B supplement. I'm just reading right off of Wikipedia, actually. Here's part of it. Part of the reason for them being so expensive is they're many times done by drug companies or big companies that do research, and they pass on the expense. Okay. There are several other multi-B capsules that are similar to ours. We were the very first ones. We've had some knockoffs since then. They are much more expensive than ours, only because those companies are making a greater profit than we are. And the reason for that is that we're trying to keep the cost down, because when Lou started the company years ago, he wanted it to be affordable for people in the United States. We could be charging $60 a bottle. We're not going to. And like I said, ours is a very, very good source of benfotiamine, and we've always used the same company. I will not change sourcing, because I feel confident that what we have is the best. So I'm just looking at Metanix, and again, that'd be something that a doctor could tell you, but just do some research online and you can see the difference. There's got to be something about the medical foods, and I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to purport to tell you why this is expensive or what's in it that's different. I know our stuff works for a lot of people, and there's room for everybody in this space, because there's so many millions of diabetics. We just we want to help 1 million, and we're going to do that by having you guys help us.
Right, right.
Did you have excuse me, did you have any questions or any suggestions, or how do
No,
you
I think
how do you like the service when you call?
very good, very good.
You
I
can't-
can't say that about most calls. You're on the line about 15, 20 minutes before you get a human anymore.
Yeah, ask Dr. Jack about calling a doctor's office the other day, and he was on hold for 4 hours.
Oh, you're kidding.
Hang up. Hang
Yeah,
up.
right,
Yeah.
right.
If you leave us a message, we will call you back.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll never forget Reno Vicky
Yeah.
when I see it on the internet again.
Okay, all righty.
We know she's from Reno. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. So
Okay.
our
Enjoyed
time
it.
is up. That hour just flew by. And we will we will get this out to the other folks that wanted to be on the call. Donald, any last minute? I know you're on mute. You might be in another call. I wanted to pass this on.
This was great. Got a lot of great insights. I know for our team, there's some content that we need to write and also some things that we can clarify as well. So it was very valuable.
Super. Thank you for being here, Donald. I really appreciate it. Dr. Jack, last word.
Yeah, I think my back is going to sleep, so now the pain is gone.
Oh, jeez. Take your Benfo, Dad.
I took 4 already.
All right. Well, Dr. Jack, on my behalf, thank you so much for being such a great part of the company. And I know people enjoy getting the emails about your birthday, which is coming up in September. He'll be a grand old 94. And I appreciate you working with me, for me, and always being there for the clients.
I'm
Thanks.
trying to get to be the oldest client who ever took Benfotiamine.
Hey, someone's got to be it. And I appreciate that. It's you.
Okay.
All right,
I've been
guys.
in it
Thank
for
you.
18 years.
Thank you so
All
much,
right.
everybody. Thanks, Francine, for being with us, and for the other folks, we appreciate it. Thank you, Donald, and the team. And we'll see what we can do to get more information out there to satisfy each and every one of you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Bye,
Thanks a lot.
Francine.
All right.